Hi everybody, welcome to the SPR exam tips for your June 23 exam. Remember, you've got 4 questions to do. Question 1 on consolidation. Make sure you're comfortable with all the different parts, foreign subsidiaries, the cash flows, step acquisitions and disposals. Make sure when you're doing that, you're sticking to your time. It's 30 marks, so you shouldn't spend more than 60 minutes on that. Moving on to that question 2, where you have the ethics element, you've got to apply those 5 ethical principles. Don't just copy paste those principles. It's very essential that you apply the scenario the examiner says. And also when you're doing that, remember to always talk about the actions which is worth the professional marks. When you're doing the ethics question as well, watch out for the ethics in a digital age, which there's an article about, all the blockchain technology, all the artificial intelligence. Be aware of those concepts. Moving on to question 3 and question 4, where you have 25 marks each. What gets tested in those questions is number 1, accounting standards. Make sure you are comfortable with all the accounting standards, especially the FR ones as well, the financial reporting basic ones. Make sure you apply the scenario very well, knowledge and then the application. Whilst you're doing that, remember question 4 will be themed around possibly a climate change or a natural disaster, or it could be that pandemic. And know those small bits of those standards that get tested, know those articles that are there available for sustainability, climate change, also the additional and alternative performance measures. Whilst doing all of this, make sure you don't overrun on your time. You be very relaxed. It's okay if you don't know all the bits. The important bit is to keep moving on and not pressurizing yourself. Good luck, do well, and hope to see you smiling on 8th of June.
Hi, my name is Mustafa and I'm going to give you some important tips on how you can ace the SBL exam. The first tip I will tell you is read the question carefully. It's quite a long question, it's a big question. Utilize the first hour in reading through every exhibit, every requirement carefully and making notes in your scratch pad so you don't waste time later going back and looking at the scenario. The second tip I would give you is link all of your answers to the scenario. Don't write general tips. SBL grants marks for people who link all of their answers back to the company in question. The third tip I would give you is get those professional marks. Now, how do we get professional marks? We get professional marks by being skeptical, by using our analysis skills, our communication skills, etc. and also by following the format. So please read the requirements carefully and understand what professional skills they expect from you. The last tip I would give you is head over to the ACCA practice platform and practice all the mock exams given there so that you are well prepared for the SBL exam. I wish you the very best of luck and hope you pass the exam.
Hello everyone, this is Vignesh from Phoenix Financial Training, here to share some final words of advice relevant to the June 2023 APM exam. I'm going to leave you with 3 tips that I hope will help you in the exam. Number 1 relates to the depth of the answers. Poor answers often make points but do not develop them further. Make sure that when you're writing an answer, you're writing to the marks available. You may not have as many points, but with the points available, you can always convert the 1s into 2s and the 2 into 3 markers and thereby write adequate number of points. The second idea I want to leave you with is making sure that you make good examples of the points you're trying to make relevant to the scenario. The nature of APM is such that to score really good marks, you need to use the scenario info. So the examiner does not expect theoretical answers. Anything you say has to be put in the context of the company in the question. The third aspect I'm going to talk about is more a preparatory technique which will probably help you in the last week to your exam. Question spotting has become impossible in APM as some fringe areas are getting tested from time to time. And therefore, it becomes essential that you are aware of all the different topics. Obviously, you got to develop that further with scenario-specific answers. But if you didn't know what ERP is or what JIT is or what does Six Sigma mean, you wouldn't be able to answer, even start an answer. And therefore, make sure that you spend probably half a day very quickly reviewing and understanding the basics of these systems. As I mentioned, you don't need to get into a great deal of depth. You can do that with the scenario, using the scenario information. I wish you all the very best and I hope your exam goes really well.
Hello everybody, welcome to the AFM exam tips video. In the last few days before the exam, I'm sure you're wondering what's the best strategy to use. So I would definitely say please continue practicing questions, and I cannot stress enough the importance of time management. So please make sure you're timing yourself when you do these questions, because we often see students who say that I knew what to do in the exam, it's just that I couldn't do it in the 3 hours. So please make sure you manage your time. I know it's difficult, but that comes with practice. Keep doing questions 2 times and you'll definitely improve on this. In terms of what to start with in the exam, do we start with section A or section B? What I would say is please take a few minutes, go through all the questions in the exam, quickly look at the requirements, and then decide a plan of action. Definitely do the easy questions first. Whether it's investment appraisal, I doubt it's risk management, but whatever you feel is the easiest question being tested that you're comfortable with, please start with that. And preferably, please start with the theory bits. Make sure you tackle those. You get a lot of professional marks also when you do those. So do the theory bits first and then move into the numbers. There definitely will be 1 or 2 tricky bits that the examiner puts in knowingly to see how you deal with the pressure. So please do not get stuck. If you get stuck with something, assume a number, think of the larger picture. We want method marks. That's what's going to get us to pass. So don't stress about small things. I don't know how to get the cost of equity. Just ignore it, make up a number, continue, because the format, the method, the workings for everything else will get you most of the method marks. Make sure you're getting all the other professional marks for writing the report also. A common thing that students often miss out on is the conclusion. There's an easy mark just for writing a conclusion. So make sure you do the to from for the report, the introduction, separate your calculations and the theory in the first question. There's a professional mark for that. Put in subheadings, keep it neat, keep a conclusion at the end of the report, and then that gives you a lot of extra professional marks also. So keep practicing, do not stress, just be relaxed during the exam and before the exam. Keep practicing, and I wish you all the best. I'm sure you'll do great. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome to the revision tips for AAA for the June 2023 exam. The exam is coming up and I know that all of you guys are studying and working really, really hard, but I just want to leave you with a few last pointers before the exam. Now, we all know the structure of the exam. We know that we have 3 questions, our planning question, our completion question, and our other tricky question. But basically what I want to tell you guys is focus on what we know is coming. So there are a lot of parts in this exam like business risk, audit risk, procedures, ethics, reporting, matters to consider before acceptance of an engagement, matters to consider at the completion of an engagement that we know are going to come, and we know what or how we can treat them in the exam, because we've done all of those questions and we've practiced a lot of that. Now, there will be questions in the exam that may be a little bit trickier, like our quality control, like, for example, subsequent events or going concern, or other small bits and tricks or some knowledge bits that we don't remember. We don't need to worry about this. Therefore, we need to make sure that the questions that we can do super well. I want you guys to ace that audit risk question. We know that a quarter of the exam is going to be focused on risks. It's around like 20 to 25% of the exam is solely going to be about risk. That comes in question number 1. So I want you to get 20 out of 20 in that question if you can. How are you going to do that, guys? By knowing the structure. Your materiality, remember you need to calculate materiality at the start for like the 3 marks. So you do it based on the thresholds that they tell you. You do your calculation, you choose it, you do your judgment. Then materiality assessment for each point, the issue, the accounting standard, the risk, what can go wrong, and the implication on the financial statements. If you can do that, guys, you are halfway through a pass. How you're going to get the remaining half, guys, is by focusing on your procedures, by focusing on writing your matters, your issues, your materiality in your completion stage as well. Knowing your accounting standards, guys, is really, really, really important. Make sure you create a summary sheet of all of these standards so you can look at them right before the exam and basically just base your confidence on all of the things that we know are coming. Don't worry if there are tricky things in the exam. At the end of the day, guys, it's a professional level paper. There will be tricky things, but we know there are certain things that can make you pass the exam. So all I want to say, guys, is practice, 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 and hopefully, guys, you do well and you pass the exam.